Israeli-American Adele Raemer has gained worldwide attention by sharing her story on social media and news outlets. Earlier this year, Adele spoke on the 700 Club about the Hamas attack on her kibbutz on October 7th. Well, CBN Middle East correspondent Julie Stahl met with Adele at her home for a first-hand look at what happened that day.
Thank you for coming down to my kibbutz, which is still a war zone, where we are refugees in our own land. We cannot live here. It's a closed military zone. I am with 70% of my community still living in Beersheba for now as an interim solution until we can finally come back home.
Adele Raemer shared with CBN News the challenges of still being separated from friends and neighbors. That's one reason she remains focused on advocating that her community be rebuilt so residents can safely return.
When you live on kibbutz, you don't lock your door. You go outside to the lawn, you see neighbors, you go to the little convenience store. We're 430 people in this community, and I know everybody. Kibbutz is so much more than just the houses and the dining room and the fields. Kibbutz is community.
Adele took us back to the day Hamas changed her beloved home while enjoying a visit from her son.
This is where I was on October 7th. My son was sitting by the door, holding down the handle, and I was sitting on the bed, and many of these rooms were infiltrated by terrorists because it's easy to open up. The doors can only lock as it is. It can only lock if you're pulling down on the handle and if you're strong enough to keep it closed.
She then took us to another place, a key site for Raemer that day.
We're going to go into my son-in-law's house. This is where I almost lost my 3 grandchildren on October 7th.
Wow.
The terrorists came into the house. My son-in-law was one of the first responders, so he had a gun, and he was with the children in the safe room, and he heard the terrorists enter the house.
At that point, they could only wait inside the safe room.
My 3 grandchildren were on that bed, and he told them, hide under the blanket. You're going to hear a loud noise. Don't come out from under the blanket no matter what happens. He raised his gun and waited until he saw the handle of the safe door moving, and he kicked open the door to the safe room and shot the terrorist who was right there, right in front of the door.
The children and their dad all survived. Raemer says a number of miracles happened in her kibbutz. One example, no children were kidnapped from Kibbutz Nirim.
And then I realized that was supposed to be my 3 grandchildren. If he had not been here with his gun, they would have been murdered or kidnapped.
3 IDF soldiers entered the kibbutz early on and bravely fought terrorists until they lost their lives.
Their bodies are in Gaza. And on the wall here it says, Kan nilchamu ba'oz giborei Yisrael. This is where heroes of Israel fought bravely. That was another one of the little miracles that happened that day.
Standing by the fence the terrorists broke through, Raemer says Nirim suffered in more ways than one.
There are so many people here in this region that were peace activists, that worked for peace. And we built so many bridges that just collapsed that day. And these are the people that those animals, those monsters, thought that they should come on over and slaughter.
Now Adele focuses on moving forward. Currently, the kibbutz is renovating its dining room with bomb shelters on both floors, moving the convenience store to a more secure area, and repairing other infrastructure. Adele hopes to make improvements to her own house before she returns, especially upgrading the bomb shelter to make it safe from terrorists and gunfire, not just from rockets. She also plans changes including windows, doors, and a bigger porch.
That will be my victory. That will be how I will reclaim my house, my life. I had so much stolen from me, and there's no way I'm going to let that stand.
Community renovation projects are also needed for a full recovery, and CBN Israel is helping in that effort by providing a new community hub for families and friends of Kibbutz Nirim. As you can see, plans include a community center dining room, new kitchenette, and a convenience store.
So I will be back here building bigger and better, as we're going to be doing with the community, so that young families are going to be willing to come back, and new families, hopefully with young children, will want to join us.
Julie Stahl, CBN News, Kibbutz Nirim, Israel.
If you're a contributor to CBN Israel, you're part of that rebuilding, and you're part of restoring hope to those people who were so violated on October 7th. As we near the anniversary, just consider what would you be doing right now if you were in southern Israel, if you were in the Gaza envelope, and these terrorists invaded your neighborhood and came into your home and threatened your children, your grandchildren? What would you be doing right now? And in that, would you have the resolve to say, I want to rebuild? This is my home. This is my neighborhood. And you can be a part of it. How can you be a part of that, helping that rebuild? Well, you can give to CBN Israel. It's real simple. You can call us, 1-800-700-7000. Say, I want to give to CBN Israel. There's a place on the website at cbn.com. You can designate your gift, and you can also text us if you'd like to, and say, yes, I want to be a part of it. I want to be a part of blessing the nation of Israel, helping them rebuild. Keep in mind, Gaza was the breadbasket of Israel. 60% of their vegetables and fruit all came from that region. They have to rebuild going forward, and you can be a part of it. Now, I've got something else for you. There's such a contrast in what you hear in the media today and the reality on the ground. There is an absolute difference between the death cults of Hamas and Hezbollah, the theocracy of Iran, where it's somehow noble that if you die in jihad, if you die in the struggle against the great Satan, which is us, the little Satan, which is Israel, if you die in that struggle, somehow you're going to go to paradise. On the other side, in Israel, is an absolutely thriving democracy with an incredible culture. And we want to highlight that culture so that you have the information you need as you talk to people about the differences here. Why in the world would you support an Islamic death cult who thinks that the only role for women is to be in the home? Why in the world would you ever support a group that says if you see a Jew, please kill them? And that's a righteous act to do that. Why would you ever march for them or protest for them or somehow say you're going to free Palestine if they get in control? It's amazing how truth has been stood on its head. Well, we've got something for you that'll give you the other side, and it's called The Genius of Israel. For your gift of any dollar amount, you can receive a DVD copy of this wonderful documentary, along with instant 4K streaming access. And all you have to do to get it is call us, 1-800-700-7000, or you can go to geniusofisraelfilm.com. You can also text GENIUS to 80888. And again, I'll remind you, it's a gift of any dollar amount. And your gift for this will go into more documentaries from Israel, as well as this wonderful new film we're doing, The Oracles of God. How did we get the Bible? Part 1, the Old Testament, has been released, and we're working right now in Israel on production of the New Testament and how we got and received the New Testament. Again, so many lies out there in our culture that you can't trust the Bible. That's not the archaeology. That's not the real history. We want to bring that to you, so your gift will go into the production cost of that new film. Do it now. Say, yes, I want to do this. 1-800-700-7000.